Hey, good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm not in my normal spot today. I'm actually in Chicago, streaming in Chicago live to y'all this morning. Happy Monday. It's been a heck of a week, but hey, I've been learning so many things about my life. And I said, let me get on here and talk to my people this morning. So, this is episode 6, you guys. Mondays with Coach Bryce. Um, I'm a professional certified life and health coach and trained mental health counselor. And my subject today is stop shrinking, becoming what God called me to be. This is really a podcast for me, to be honest with you, because the reason why I say becoming what God called me to be is because I'm not there yet, but I'm working on a journey. Remember, I told you I'm working on the journey of truth, and so with that truth is I'm really I got some noise in the background. With that journey of truth, I'm actually learning a lot because when you walking in the journey of truth, you have to figure out what lies are you walking in. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt there's more in you than what you're doing, and you get this unsettling feeling that you need to be doing something more in your gut, in your spirit? Have you ever found yourself shrinking because you're dealing with fear or shame? Have you ever thought about what's causing me to shrink? These are the things that I've been exploring over the last couple of months. And um, what I sat down with one of my coaches, I do have several coaches, and he really showed me some things. He asked me some questions, and he said, I see two areas where you're shrinking. And it was very enlightening. And I'll talk about that as I go through. But one of the things that, two things that was causing me to shrink, and that was fear and shame. But what was interesting about it, it was two different areas. So it's kind of hard to pick. That's why I need a coach, because I can't see my own stuff sometimes. And a lot of times people think that you're supposed to show up as a coach and not have to have any help. That's not true. We all have our stuff. And so shrinking is something that all my life I kind of been doing. But I really was thinking that it was being humble. Humble, the word humble is actually depending totally on God. It don't mean that you just shrink. It means depending on God, waiting on him to see what to do versus you doing something on your own. So I thought about it and I asked myself these questions. What's causing me to shrink? Is it how I see myself? How do I see myself in relation to my purpose? Think about these questions for yourself. Is it what I'm telling myself? What am I telling myself about my purpose? That's important because, and I'll talk to you guys more. These questions mean a lot because I'm going to show you how the enemy uses his tactics to get you away from your purpose. Is it something I believe about myself that's keeping me from my purpose? And is it in what do I believe in relation to my purpose that's causing me to shrink back? Is it religion? Is it childhood development issues? Is it some other areas where I'm not showing up because there's so much noise in the background and my purpose is right in front of me and I can't see it because it's too much noise in the background? This is important because I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been seeing it in how I show up in relationships, in my business, also even in the communities I'm in. I'm not all in. And I realized, wait a minute, you're not all in. That's why you're feeling this. I felt this turbulence, especially these last couple of months. I've been feeling like God is pushing me, and pushing me. And I'm like over the edge. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. He like, you are ready. I gave you what you need. But Here's what's interesting though. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. It's not about being rich. It's not about popularity. It's not being highly educated or perfect. It's about being authentic, humble, willing, and called by God. These are the things that we are called by God. Every one of us was put on earth is called to a purpose. We all he has issued us gifts, but sometimes we not operating in our fullness because we stuck with all this noise around us. You know, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to get on social media because my hair ain't done, or I'm not perfect. Perfect is great. I ain't gonna lie, I look good, but it's not relatable. If I can't be who I am and show up who I am, then that's it. I woke up this morning, I ain't do nothing to my hair. It just flow like that. Praise God. But I didn't do nothing to it. But if it was messed up, I ain't gonna lie, I would have wanted to do something to it because I'm this is what I'm working on. I ain't there yet, you know. But you know what's really helping me? I'm not a perfectionist. I really did the work in that. Do you know perfection is act? Tony Robbins said it so clear. When he said it, I didn't quite get it. He said perfection is the lowest standard, and I was like, huh? It's the lowest standard because you are trying to be perfect and you trying to meet a mark you can't meet because we're not perfect. It's about progress and the journey that you go on. But we nobody is perfect. And so that's a lower standard because it pushes us away from being our authentic self. We can't be authentic if we trying to put on this front or be perfect. We see we or we comparing ourselves to other people, which is something you don't want to do. But let me tell you the weapons that the enemy used on me personally to move me away from my purpose. And he could steal it if I'm not careful. And I'm not allowing that. I was like, no, not happening. Number one is distractions. Man, a distraction is really a thing that prevents someone from giving a full attention to something. I love how my husband, we had a dialogue about this. And he said, I'm quoting him because it's his quote. The thing you use to deal, distraction is the thing you use to deal with your pain. He uses that. Think about it. What are you using to deal with your pain? It's causing you not to be 100% in. It's taking your focus off of what you're supposed to be doing. Me, it was fear. And I'll tell you about that. God blessed me to be able to take care of my mother. That was a very painful experience, but also a very enlightening and a very blessed journey that He allowed me to go on. In 2009, I was on the bus. He gave me the title. And I was like, yes, I never forgot the title. I didn't even have to write it down because He gave it to me. And it made sense. And, and, but I did not, I have not written that book yet. Distractions. I got 3 books in me. I have not written, and I've been allowing distractions. So think about what mechanism are you using to deal with your pain that's causing a distraction in your life. Think about it because it's causing you not to meet you, not to know what your purpose is as well. It's really taking you off your purpose, and that's really important for you to learn that. And then once he gets you distracted, this is the interesting part. He started to get you to doubt. To doubt means like you uncertain or undecided, hesitant. Remember Thomas in the Bible, he was doubt. He was one of the persons that doubted. Remember when Peter walked on water, he began to doubt, but God pulled him out. It's when you're not entirely sure about the truth, the validity and reliability of a belief that or idea or statement, you start to once you start to get curious or moved away from what you're supposed to do, doubt kicks in. So think about what are the things that you have doubt in your life and why? Because doubt needs truth. So go explore go, because doubt, you have to have some type of truth. So I started thinking about where am I doubting in this journey that I'm on with the Lord, where I'm not meeting my purpose. I was doubting I have to have, everybody is doing it. So why should I do it? Somebody already got this done. No, no, that's the enemy's, that's the lie from the enemy. Because guess what? There's something that pain is supposed to be turned into a purpose. And so the things that I went through with my mom, that's I have to write that book now. After I had that session with my coach, I was like, I have to write. I have to show up and write this. And then when you start to doubt, you start to get all this noise and questioning yourself, question after question, leads to discouragement. Discouragement is when you lose confidence and enthusiasm. You know, if you notice when you start getting discouraged, kind of pull away. Think about, what have I been discouraged about? And why have I been discouraged? I was discouraged about writing it. And I ain't gonna lie, it's easier to stay stuck and not do it. But let me tell you who I'm affecting when I don't. I'm affecting the next caregiver that's facing the things that I face that they don't know about. I'm actually hurt. I could be hurting my kids and grandkids when they have to take care of us. I could be leaving out that type of information. God bless me to go on that type of journey, and I came out without no residue. No, I have to do this. And I'm saying this because I'm making myself accountable. If I don't show up in it, then I'm a hypocrite in what I'm talking about. And I don't want to be no hypocrite. Um, but I did map out how I'm gonna do it and when I'm gonna do it, and what days I'm gonna do it and stuff like that. And then when you into that discouragement and you pull away, I ain't gonna lie, I was starting to get in the state of delusion. That's like a false belief or judgment of something external, of external reality. In other words, you holding this belief as evidence, even though you see the contrary. I know I'm smart. I know I got it in me. But I was in a state of delusion, like telling myself these false beliefs, judging myself for something I can't see. Because faith is the evidence of the things not seen. And I know I got this faith to do it, but I just didn't know how I'm gonna do it. And so I was unable to reconcile that belief, which led me into disappointment and despair. Some people even end up being depressed, because I'm telling you, when you're not fulfilling your purpose, it's like dry land. It feels, I don't know if you ever felt it. It feels like you have no hope. And I don't like that feeling. And so as long as I'm doing my purpose and walking in what God called me to be, I feel amazing because I love helping people. So when you think about it, what are you telling yourself about the evidence that don't even exist? Because that's what that false belief is. It's evidence that don't exist. And when you're in that mode, it start to take you into where you deadlock. And when you deadlock, deadlock is a situation where one involving, you got a situation where there's no progress that can be made because you're stuck and you can't move, and you deadlock because you don't know which way to go, you don't know how to move, you discouraged, you in despair, you stuck, but you have purpose in you, you have it, but you stuck. If I don't take action, that's the danger. These are the things the enemy uses, I'm telling you. And he's subtle with it. So you got to be careful, because he don't want your purpose fulfilled, because it's going to help the next person. If I don't do it, I'm going to delay. And delay means that I'm going to make something late or slow. Usually people call it procrastination. Procrastination is interesting because procrastination, these are the things that's behind it. It's perfection, fear, a feeling of being overwhelmed, because you do feel overwhelmed when you're trying to walk in perfection, because I'm trying to convince myself I need more to prepare. And so I'm really telling myself I don't have what it takes, but I do. God gave it to me. If he took me on that journey and I came out, he gave me everything I need to talk about that's in me. And I cannot worry about I'm not prepared. Just do it. Just like when it was time for me to open my practice. If I would have said I don't have everything I need. I need more education. I need more of this, more of that. I would never have stepped into that arena. I would never have opened my practice. And I would have been stuck. People that I helped wouldn't have got the help they need because I would have been trying to get more, 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 more of what? If God put something in your heart, just do it. I ain't gonna lie, I just been walking like a toddler in it. And he's holding my hand and he's teaching me how to walk in this journey. And I'm learning as I go, and as I learn, I go, I share. So it's that type of journey that I love because I get to share it with other people. If I don't write this book, then I don't want to be where, okay, now I done went home to be with the Lord and that book was never written. I denied myself of a moment I had. It's 2009, he gave it to me. But it's interesting that this season in my life, it's been in my belly. Like, you have to write it. It's like overwhelming. Um, so I made a pact with myself. I said, you know what? You know, here's why I don't want to shrink anymore. I don't want to miss the opportunity to make a difference in someone else's life. That's so important to me. I made a decision that I will serve at the highest level and not from my head, but from my heart. That's important because serving from your head is when you into this reasoning and analysis and focusing on what's practical, saying all the right things. That's perfect, right? I say it the right way, showing that I'm educated. But serving from the heart, that's when you elicit passion, empathy. You like, man, I'm just you really into your emotions. That book s- is so I'm passionate. I got so much passion about it because it's so real how the Lord came into my life. All of these books He's given me, I'm almost done with one, has been the journey that I've been on with the Lord. And that's my experience. But how many people it's gonna help? I don't know. But I'm writing it for me. I'm writing it now, I'm writing it for me as far as like I want to get it out. And I don't know what it's gonna do, but I'm writing it because God said I need to write it. And I'm gonna trust him to do what I'm purposed to do. And then if anybody else, I know it's gonna help some people. I just don't know how many, and that's up to the Lord. But both a servant from the head and heart can be tricky because you want to give out, you know, facts, but I also want to come with where you can see my passion in something I'm doing and see it from a emotional standpoint because that's what the the heart of it is, and that's where from the heart reaches the heart. I give you an example. It was so funny when I first got out of grad school. I had a really good supervisor. He said, Martha, I want you to take one day. I was working at a Christian counseling center. But he said, Martha, I want you to, I need that extra day you got. I want you to use it at a homeless shelter. And I was like, all right, you know, but I was like, I don't know what it's like to be homeless. He sent me to a homeless shelter. So I was like, he said, and I want you to do a workshop on conflict resolution. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I know that subject. I know. But it was funny because in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna show them this, because this is the reason why they homeless. So I set up myself for failure because I'm assuming this is what's going on, right? I'm in my head. I'm delivering. I went there. It was about 50 people in the room. Quiet as I'm delivering conflict resolution. But I have a supervisor in there that's sitting there that he assigned me to. And when she sat there, like we finished, we sat down, she said, Martha, great information. Get out of your head. and get in your heart because you're not reaching them. You did not reach them at all. You did not reach them. And you got to figure out, I'm not going to tell you, you got to figure out how to reach them because you came up there, great information. You delivered it with all of these. It was phenomenal for a big, huge workshop that you was doing in front of counselors. But you in the room with people that are suffering. You need to get in your heart. And I was like, okay. I went home and I was like, what does that mean? And so I talked to Dr. Dr. Kilmer at the time was my supervisor. And I said, I don't get it. She want me to deliver it again next week. And I want to make sure I deliver it. He said, it's something about middle class people. He said they really, you really can't relate because you like kind of in the middle. He said, but think about, look around. He took me to the site. He said, look around. It was in Gary. He said, what do you see? And I said, I see, convenience stores. I see boarded buildings. He said, if you don't come back and clean this up, who's going to do it? And I said, man, that's wild. So I went home and I processed and I was like, man, I'm really blessed. But I don't understand their story. So I went back into the workshop. Same people. And the first thing I said was, I need to hear y'all's story because I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't know what it's like to be in your shoes. And oh my God, that was the best. I didn't even get to conflict resolution to that. I had to go. It was a process. That workshop was so powerful. If they was late, they couldn't get in. That was a show. That was one of the rules because they trying to teach them to be on time. And I couldn't open the door and I felt so bad because I couldn't open the door. But they was wanting to get, if they was late, they was banging on the door to get in and they couldn't get in. But it was because I needed to know their story, but I needed to get into the heart because I didn't know. And I had to be honest with them and say, hey, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know what y'all going through. I was wrong about my assumption. And I told them, I said, I'm sorry, I was wrong. They loved me because I was genuine. And that's what brought me back to the pain in my life happened to me, but it happened for me. Because that book, if I don't, for me to help someone else that through what I suffered, it's a ripple effect if I help one person. I noticed that in my practice. The minute I help somebody, they go tell somebody else. And then they go tell somebody else, then the next person. But because they see the power in the transformation. It was transformation that day when I asked them those questions. And that taught me, don't make assumptions. Get into the person's story and find out what it is that they're dealing with, because that let me know everybody don't deal with the things. All of them was in there for different reasons. How can I use my pain to benefit and help others? Shrinking is hiding my pain and using it as an excuse not to move forward. I can easily do that. But there's two areas in my life where I've allowed fear and shame to paralyze me. Number one was the books. The books was number one, I told you. I wasn't doing it because of fear. I was allowing fear to stop me from being, when I figured this out, I was in a deadlock stage where, what do I do? How do I move forward? Just do it. Just write. Just do it. Got the title, got the format, just write it. I got a Facebook page I put together. It's called The Challenges of Being a Caregiver. If you know someone who's struggling with being a caregiver, please send them to, text me or send them to The Challenges of Being a Caregiver. Because I want to make sure that it's people who's really in the cusp of caring for their loved one. This is really for the caregiver. I'm advocating for the caregiver for a reason because most people don't see the caregiver. They see the patient. But I'm talking about the caregiver. So if you know someone that's in care that's actually walking and caregiving for someone, I built a community on Facebook so that I can support them in their journey. And then when my book come out, it'll help them as they continue their journey. I took action. That was the first action I took, was building that Facebook page. That's action for me because it's forcing me to now walk in this area. The shame area for me is my weight loss journey. That's a shame area for me because I've always struggled with my weight. Always struggled with that all my life. It's never. I'm gonna be honest with you. My struggle is not with the program. The program I coach is 100% effective. It's not that. It's a deep rooted psychological part that I have to deal with, and I figured out through my coaching. I figured out what it was and how to go about doing it. But that's a journey within itself because it's all about when I mean when I was younger and I needed to deal with something emotionally, I went to eating to soothe me. This behavior came into my life growing up. But now I'm looking at it's called neural association conditioning. What I'm doing is I'm taking that when I was dealing with my emotions, that was painful. I didn't want to deal with those emotions. So the pleasure was eating. So now with the neural association conditioning, I'm thinking about, I'm switching it. I'm saying, if I eat this, I'm looking at what is it going to cost me? And that's a journey because I'm not there yet. I'm going to be honest with you. I can override it because I have choice. But I'm thinking about, if I eat this, I'll get pleasure now. But it's not really a pleasure. It's actually pain because it's going to cause me pain. It's going to cause me pain because usually when I eat something bad, I don't have the energy I want. I'm starting to associate the piece of cake with. I need to associate the piece of cake with pain. I need to associate the piece of the something. And really, I'm not. I don't eat it a lot, but when I'm emotionally stressed, that's my go-to. But I need to switch my go-to, so I'm working on that neural association conditioning, and so which is really fascinating to me. And so let me tell you some facts. These are the facts that I learned about myself to get me out of the enemy's weapon. We are all created for purpose. I have a gift and I know what that gift is. That gift is encouragement. I was born to serve. We all are born to serve. What qualifies me in the mistakes that I made within my journey is I've experienced it. That's what qualifies me. I experienced the hurdles. I experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now I can talk about it. If you dealing with that, you can talk about it. I can't run somebody else's race. And I don't want to because I don't know what they had to do it. So I need to focus on what my journey is and make sure that I walk in my purpose. So I had to ask myself, or you can ask yourself, will you allow the situation to define who you are as as a person? Or would you use that situation to understand your purpose? Think about that. So I'm staying committed to growth. I realize I am enough and I have all what I need right now. I'm not, I'm just going to stop playing it safe because it's not safe. I'm owning my pain so I can turn it into my purpose. And I'm also keeping in mind, I want you guys to keep in mind, remember, you are serving the person you once were. Think about that. I'm serving the Martha that was in that journey that I was going through when I took care of my mother. But that is serving me in that place, is serving others in the future. Happy Monday. I'm so glad you guys listened to me. And remember, don't shrink. You have a purpose. Walk in your purpose. Have a great day. Sorry, I ain't got my do. Well, I gave it to you.